This police chief was heading home after celebrating his award for outstanding performance. But the cab ride turns into a nightmare when the mysterious driver veers into a deserted area and attacks him. In the chaos, he accidentally stabs the man. Afraid of losing everything, he decides to cover it up. He wipes his prints and runs away. No one saw, or so he thought. But the next morning, a body hangs from a crane outside the police station. And it's the same man he killed. Did someone witness the murder? And how long can he keep this secret buried? The story begins with a young boy helplessly watching his father taken away by police. He cries and pleads, but no one listens, leaving him alone in tears. Detective Choi stands in front of a crowd, receiving an award. He's calm and composed, but everyone can see the pride in his eyes. His boss praises his dedication and hard work, calling him one of the best. His team claps loudly, cheering for him as he walks into the station. Among them is a young officer named Dong Jae. Detective Choi values Dong Jae and has been guiding him like an older brother. They share a close bond, both as colleagues and friends. Choi looks over Dong Jae's report and offers some advice. As a police officer, you must put emotions aside, he says. You have to look at the facts, even when it's hard. Choi also invites Dong Jae to his home during the weekend as he knows it is his birthday. That evening, the whole team goes out drinking to celebrate Detective Choi. There's laughter, drinks, and even a gift, a Thai clip to show their appreciation. When the party ends, Choi leaves in a taxi. Tired, he dozes off in the back seat. But when he wakes up, something feels off. The driver isn't going the right way. Choi leans forward. You missed the turn, he says. The driver says nothing, and starts driving faster. Choi's instincts kick in. Something's wrong. He grabs the man's shoulder, trying to make him stop. The car races into a deserted mountain road before coming to a stop. Both men step out. Then the driver pulls out a knife. Why are you doing this? Choi asks. The man looks straight at him. You need to die for me to live, he says, and lunges forward. A fight breaks out. Choi fights back, trying to disarm him. But in the struggle, the knife turns, and pierces the attacker. Choi panics. He reaches for his phone, ready to call the police. But before he can, his phone rings. It's his boss. I just spoke with the higher-ups, he says. We're pushing for your promotion to headquarters. Be careful, any scandal could ruin your future. He looks down at the man he just killed, and now, he has a choice to make. Afraid of losing everything he worked for, Detective Choi doesn't report the stabbing. Instead, he wipes the knife, removes his fingerprints, and grabs the taxi's dashcam footage. Then he runs, leaving the body in the quiet, empty night. The next morning, a woman walks to work. She looks up, and freezes. A man's body is hanging from a crane, right in front of the police station. Panic spreads. Media rush to the scene. Crowds gather. Detective Choi hears the news and hurries over. When he arrives and sees the body, his heart sinks. It's the same man he killed. His face stays calm. But inside, he's spiraling. He pretends not to recognize the victim and quietly watches the forensics team collect evidence. One officer picks up the murder weapon and dusts it for prints. Choi can barely breathe. Later, he secretly returns to the scene, but to his shock, everything has been cleaned up. It's like the fight never happened. Meanwhile, Detective O assigns Dong Jae to examine the taxi used in the murder. Inside, Dong Jae finds something chilling, a Thai clip. It's the same one they gave Detective Choi just the night before. Dong Jae freezes. He looks around, afraid someone else might see it. Then quietly, he pockets the clip and says nothing. The case explodes in the media. A body hung like a message, right outside police headquarters. Is the police force being mocked? The police commissioner is furious. His reputation is on the line. He turns to Detective Choi. Lead the case, he says. Find the killer. Quickly. Choi agrees, but his mind is elsewhere. He listens to the team go over the crime scene details, but he's distracted. Every moment feels like a countdown to his exposure. When he hears there were no prints found in the taxi, he feels a small wave of relief. But that comfort doesn't last. The forensic team finds something new, skin cells under the victim's fingernails. They say it's from a scratch, deep enough to leave a wound. Now all they need is a DNA match. Choi looks at his neck. He remembers the scratch from that night. The team begins reviewing CCTV footage to trace the cab's route. They see that the cab had a passenger inside before heading for the mountain. But when it came down, there was only one man left. The killer must have been that passenger. They're getting closer. Choi rushes back to the spot where he boarded the taxi. His eyes scan the area, and then he sees it. A CCTV camera. Mounted right above the sidewalk. Panic sets in. He hurries back to the station and sneakily steals the footage. But just as he's about to finish, he catches a pair of eyes staring at him. It's Dong Jae, but he says nothing. Not long after, Dong Jae makes a breakthrough. He finds a CCTV clip. Someone is seen dragging a lifeless body into the trunk of the same taxi, and the team immediately rushes to the scene. The area is quickly surrounded by officers. When the man from the footage spots the detectives, he bolts. The team scatters, each one chasing through narrow streets and back alleys. It's Detective Choi who manages to catch up to him. The chase is fast and intense. Through alleys, downstairs, over fences. Finally, Choi corners the man in a dead-end alley and pulls out his gun. "Stop right there," he shouts. The man freezes, breathing hard. "I didn't kill him," the man says, terrified. "When I got there, he was already dead, and I was instructed to hang the body on the crane." "Who made you hang the body?" he asks. The man doesn't mention the name, but says, "If I didn't do as he said, he would kill me." Choi stares at him, thinking about his next move. If he kills this man, his secret could be buried forever. Then the man lunges at him and Choi fires. The man is dead. Breathing heavily, Choi stands over the body, and behind him, someone else is standing still in shock. It's Dong Jae. He saw everything. Later, at the station, the team scrambles to learn more about the man Choi shot. But they don't find much. Only one thing stands out: a phone call was made from a burner phone linked to a company called Myri Entertainment. The commissioner is furious. He shouts at Choi, "How could someone like you make such a rookie mistake?" he says. "Now I have to explain this to the higher-ups." When he asks the team if anyone witnessed the accident, the entire team steps in to defend Choi. They claim they saw the man attacking with a knife, that Choi had no choice. Detective O continues saying that both the man and the earlier victim tested positive for a powerful drug called Metapon. That's the motive, he insists, a drug-related killing. Everyone is positive that the man is the real killer. It all fits. But one thing remains. The DNA test from the skin cells under the first victim's fingernails. If it matches the man Choi shot, the case is closed. The commissioner holds a press conference to update the public that the killer has been found. But he was shot during an attempted arrest. That night, the team heads out for drinks. But Choi doesn't go. Later, Dong Jae quietly asks Detective O, "Don't you think Detective Choi has been acting strange?" Detective O sighs. He's just shaken. He killed a suspect. And after everything he's done all these years, he might lose his promotion. Yet, Dong Jae can't shake off a growing doubt that Detective Choi could be connected to what happened. The next day, the forensic results came back. The DNA didn't match. The man Detective Choi shot was not the real murderer. The police commissioner was furious. He had already announced the case was solved to the public. Now, to save face, he told Choi, "Since the men are dead, we'll bury the report. We'll pin the murder on the dead suspect and close the case." All Choi had to do was make sure everyone stayed quiet. But Dong Jae wasn't ready to let it go. He decided to find the truth himself. He recovered the CCTV footage that Choi had stolen. Watching closely, he saw that Detective Choi was the last passenger to board the taxi that night. Then, Dong Jae meets with Detective Choi. He says there is a senior he respects a lot, a good man. But Dong Jae also found an important piece of evidence at the crime scene that belongs to that senior. He caught him stealing the video footage, which Dong Jae has now recovered. Even though the evidence is clear, Dong Jae chooses to trust the senior, hoping he will make the right choice. He hands over the tie clip and the video to Choi, and quietly walks away. Now that Dong Jae has uncovered the truth, he feels torn. Choi decided to start his own secret investigation. He needed to find the real mastermind behind the man who tried to kill him. He visited a drug dealer and asked, "Has anyone bought Metapon recently?" The dealer told him about an actor named Kim Jin-kyu, who was arrested for using Metapon. Kim Jin-kyu was part of Myri Entertainment. Choi went to Myri Entertainment and asked the manager about Jin-kyu. The manager said Jin-kyu had left months ago. But later, the manager called Choi. He said Kim Jin-kyu wanted to meet him, and ran a bar called Mojo. "Maybe you can meet him there." At the bar, Choi noticed a calendar with 3 dates marked with various locations. He called Detective O to check it out. They found that on those dates and places, police officers were murdered, and the killer was never found. When Choi heard the officers' names, he was shocked. They were his former colleagues. A flashback showed the old case, a deadly poisoning that killed 12 people. They never found the real culprit. But under pressure from the higher-ups, the police commissioner told Choi and his team to fake the evidence. They framed a mentally disabled man named Kim Bong-soo. Kim Bong-soo worked at a casino and was often bullied, so they claimed his grudge drove him to poison the victims. 2 fake witnesses were made, the taxi driver and the first suspect. The man arrested in front of the crying boy at the beginning of the story? That was Kim Bong-soo. Back in the present, Detective Choi finally realizes the shocking truth: the young boy, Kim Jin-kyu, is the mastermind behind everything. Suddenly, a man walks into the police station to confess to the recent crane crime. It's Kim Jin-kyu himself. He asks to speak with Detective Choi alone and insists all listening devices be turned off. Choi asks coldly, "Are you killing all the officers who were involved as revenge for your father?" Jin-kyu calmly admits it. He reveals that his plan has been in motion for a long time. Only Detective Choi and the police commissioner remain. He bribed both the taxi driver and the initial suspect using drugs to do his dirty work. But because Choi messed up by killing both of them, Jin-kyu now wants Choi to kill the police commissioner for him. When Choi refuses, Jin-kyu tells him that he has a video recording of Choi killing the taxi driver. He threatens to release it to the world in seconds. If Choi wants to keep his secret safe, he must kill the commissioner within 2 hours. If not, he will face the consequences of his crimes. Later, when the commissioner asks if Jin-kyu is the killer, Choi lies. He says there isn't enough evidence to convict, but they should keep Jin-kyu in custody and watch him closely. As Choi is unable to solve the case, the police commissioner hands the case to Detective Kong. After reviewing the case, Detective Kong decides to release Jin-kyu, believing he is unlikely to be the murderer. Meanwhile, Choi leaves his badge and gun on his desk, a sign he might be ready to face the consequences. But when he hears Jin-kyu is being released, panic hits him. He orders his men to find Jin-kyu immediately, grabs his gun, and rushes out. Detective O delivers bad news: they lost Jin-kyu's trail. The last place he was seen was near the commissioner's location. Sensing danger, Choi races to the area. Then, his phone rings. It's Jin-kyu. "If you can't kill the commissioner, I will have to kill him myself," Jin-kyu warns. Choi arrives at the parking lot just as the commissioner walks toward his car. Jin-kyu tells him over the phone, the car is rigged with explosives. Choi rushes forward to stop it, but he's too late. The car explodes right before his eyes. Another call comes from Jin-kyu. "You're the only one left now." As Detective Choi did not kill the commissioner as per Jin-kyu's orders, he sent the video footage to the police station. Everyone was shocked to see Detective Choi was the murderer caught on tape. Detective Kong immediately ordered all officers to hunt down Detective Choi. Meanwhile, Detective O felt something was wrong. He dug into the old case files and found the serial murder case where Kim Bong-soo was framed. He realized the officers who were killed were all involved in that case. Detective Choi rushed to the bar and saw Jin-kyu waiting for him. But Jin-kyu revealed a shocking truth: he was a fake. Not the real son of Kim Bong-soo. Jin-kyu told Choi that Dong-jae was Bong-soo's true son. Dong-jae's real name was Jin-kyu. He said they were childhood friends and begged Choi not to kill him. Then, Jin-kyu suddenly collapsed and passed away from an overdose. At the same time, Detective O called Dong-jae to meet him. He told Dong-jae that he knows the truth now, and he should stop everything. This revenge was not the right way. But Dong-jae was cold. He sneered, "Think you can arrest me?" A fierce struggle broke out. In the end, Dong-jae grabbed a gun and killed Detective O. Later, Detective Choi's phone rings. It's his son calling, and he learns that Dong-jae is with him. Choi tells Dong-jae that he will find the real killer and make him pay. But he begs Dong-jae to keep his family out of this. Choi goes to meet Dong-jae. Dong-jae opens up and reveals his painful past. He was just a young boy, and his father was everything to him. One night, Dong-jae went to his father's workplace and saw men beating him. Unable to hold back, Dong-jae put cyanide in all their drinks, killing them all. Even though he confessed, the police refused to believe him and even falsified the evidence. They blamed the murders on his father, who was sentenced to death. Since that day, Dong-jae planned his revenge. Detective Choi is shocked by the truth. Meanwhile, police arrive, and Choi's son rushes out of the car. Dong-jae mocks Choi, saying this moment is like when he watched his dad get arrested. He says his revenge is complete and tells Choi to keep his promise, to kill him. Choi feels heartbroken that it came to this. He chooses to turn himself in, believing it's the right thing to do. But before that can happen, Dong-jae takes his own life. Choi watches in tears, feeling deep guilt. Dong-jae was someone he truly cared for. A flashback shows a tender moment. Dong-jae just graduated from cadet school, eager to join Choi's unit. Choi was fond of him, never guessing it was all part of the revenge plan. Afterwards, Choi smiles softly at his son as he steps into the police car. It shows he decided to do the right thing and take responsibility for his actions.